My name is Pegge Adams, and I'm running for Genesee County Board of Commissioners in the 9th District and on a Democratic ticket. Question 1. How do you perceive the responsibilities of the County Board of Commissioners to the citizens of their districts and to the county as a whole? Well, the County Board of Commissioners has a responsibility for careful policy and budget decisions for the benefit of the county as a whole. One responsibility is to be well informed on issues so that sound decisions can be made and costly mistakes avoided. That involves continuing reading and research, being prepared for meetings. The responsibility to an individual district is within that umbrella, but also includes the particular needs of the district. Communication is an important responsibility, and toward that end, attending township meetings and individual communications with residents are very important. It needs to be a two-way communication. Most importantly, there's a responsibility to provide service to constituents. Because of the complexity of county government, residents can become discouraged when they encounter problems. While not all concerns fall within the scope of direct board action, I will be available to constituents to assist them with resolving any problems related to the county. Question 2. As a county commissioner, which boards would you want to serve on and why? All the boards and committees are important, but I would prioritize based on constituent concerns and impact on the 9th District. The top contenders at this time would be animal control, senior services, planning, finance, and parks. Now, the reason for animal control, I have had a number of constituents very concerned about issues regarding the animal shelter, and I feel that I could really help in terms of some positive, constructive information that would help with the continuing improvements. Senior services are of a concern to many of my residents, and so even though that's going very well at this time, that's something that I would want to continue to be involved with. The Planning Commission is involved with block grants and transportation grants, and those are important, but also it's involved with the solid waste management policy, and that's quite important in Richfield particularly, which is in District 9, because of the Richfield landfill and its position adjacent to the Holloway Reservoir. Finance impacts everything. That's the committee that decides who gets what, basically. And so its overall importance would make that also a priority. And parks, the 9th District is home to most of the county's parks, and so we're very interested in the welfare of the parks in that area, and so for that reason I would be very keenly interested in that as well. Question 3. The county continues to have declining revenues. What are your budgeting priorities? This will be difficult for some time, although the huge annual losses in revenue that we've been experiencing will probably start to stabilize as the economy recovers. What I've observed in this year's budget process is that there's not much discretion because of declining revenues and mandatory services. So for instance, the courts and the sheriff's department will always go to the front of the line, not only because those services are necessary, but because they're mandated. This doesn't mean they don't suffer cuts, but their mandatory functions are protected. Others, however worthy, may not be. For instance, the County Extension Services does a lot. The 4-H clubs, the Master Gardener program, wonderful program, and they don't ask for much money, but unfortunately, in that they are not mandated, they end up at the end of the line, so I really hope that their millage passes. Another huge factor is the regulation of state and federal grants. The money can be important in terms of providing services, but there are also matching funds, formulas that you have to be aware of, and that impacts how the money is distributed. In departments that are funded directly by millage, budgetary actions may be limited to just approving a director's decision in terms of cuts in his department. In some cases, projects are bonded and covered by grants, and in that case, they're not really part of the budget process per se, because that's really the general fund. Jobs are a priority. We want to prevent the loss of jobs, because every time a job is lost, it has a ripple effect in the community. Therefore, I really am glad to see that this year, and I would hope to continue that, the process has been such that no actual out-the-door jobs have been lost. There have been there's been some shrinkage in terms of how many people are employed because not all the positions are filled when someone leaves. But in terms of any actual job loss, that has been prevented, and I hope that that can be the case in the future as well. So other than that, my budgeting priorities really are conditional on what's available in the budget. When there are more funds to work with, certainly we want to make sure that we encourage those discretionary but very important things in our community, such as the extension service and other wonderful things that are happening in the community. But that really depends on what our revenues are in the future. Right now, the main work is to prevent further losses. Question 4. What changes, if any, in the structure of county government would you recommend and why? Prior to the primary, when I was reviewing the county directory and talking to constituents, I thought we should streamline the organization of county government. It's pretty convoluted. Since the primary, though, I've realized that's not really an easy answer after all. The organization of county government is convoluted, and there is no easy solution. Observing meetings, talking to commissioners and department heads gave me a different perspective because there are more than 50 departments, boards, agencies, commissions, and committees related to the administration of county services. These have developed over a long period of time, and they vary widely. They relate to the Board of Commissioners in many ways, but the broad areas are appointments, funding, and policy. The relationship could be close or quite distant. Those closely connected to the county board have all three areas, like human resources, building and grounds, animal control. For others, it can be very distant, such as the airport authority, where really the only connection is that we appoint some people to that authority every 3 years. Other than that, there's no connection. The road commission is similar, but more closely connection because it has overlap with things like the drain commissioner's office. Township officials sit on that advisory board for the road commission. They want to keep it that way. Although it has other funding sources, such as water and sewer fees, excluding Flint, but there's no appointment authority by the county board. Because it's an elected position, there's no overall advisory board, although there are related community boards. It goes on and on. It gets very complicated. So for that reason, I would not advocate any sudden moves or any sudden changes. That being said, the work being done by Future Gen C is likely to have an impact. This is a consortium of business leaders, officials, educational institutions, and donors such as the Mott Foundation. They spent considerable time in this last year developing a shared services plan that includes regionalization of purchasing, taxation, planning, and so forth.